Hey there traders, welcome to another market update video. Today is the 31st of May 2021 and we're going to jump into it with Bitcoin here. First off, I want to start out on the weekly because we obviously closed our weekly candle yesterday. I don't necessarily have much to say about this weekly candle other than the fact that we did close above the 55 exponential. So this is probably just going to be some profit taking happening here after the shorters pushed the price back down to around about $29,800. Let's see what the low was there. The low was actually $30,066 to be exact. So we had some push down, taking some profits, but obviously this entire trend has broken. Not necessarily reversed just yet, but the uptrend has been broken. So we could see some sideways action here, could see some accumulation happening at these levels before the next extension to the upside. I do like the fact that momentum oscillators are making their way all the way back down while price is essentially just moving sideways. Yes, if you're looking at this on shorter term time frames, it's a massive sell-off. But if you look at this from a higher time frame point of view, this is all just sideways action, probably being reaccumulated before we see the next extension. But is that extension going to be to the upside or the downside? For me personally, I will still remain bullish on Bitcoin longer term as long as we hold above essentially $29,200. As long as we close weekly candles above that, I won't be looking for any kind of pushback down. But if we did see a weekly candle close below those levels, longer term, we could see Bitcoin coming back down all the way to about $20,000 per Bitcoin, around about $19,800 to be exact. That would be my target. A full extension to the downside there will make a lot of people super bearish, and that's the point where we will be looking for some long opportunities longer term. But for now, I'm expecting some sideways action. Looking at the daily chart here, still maintaining below major moving averages, still maintaining below the 200 simple and the 200 exponential. So this is an obvious area of value, a major resistance level as well. If we pull in our liquidity zones right here, we can see that this is holding resistance as we speak. So as long as we hold resistance around these levels, I won't be looking for Bitcoin to make its way higher. But if Bitcoin can close a daily candle above $41,000, that's when I'll be looking for that next extension to the upside, probably targeting a move back up to around about $48,000, $50,000, somewhere in that range. We'll reassess once we get there. But for now, medium term, I think we're still looking for some sideways action. Price is moving sideways here while momentum oscillators are starting to point to the upside. So perhaps we do see a little bit more of a bounce here back up to around about $41,000. But as I said, as long as we close daily candles below that level, I will not be medium term bullish either. So still longer term bullish, medium term, I'm a little bit more neutral at the moment, leaning towards the bearish side of things. But I'm very cautious in calling lows and tops, given what the current market circumstances are. Right now, holding support around $35,000 for Bitcoin here. As long as we close daily candles above this level, I won't be medium term looking for any further extensions to the downside, excuse me. We also do have this particular liquidity zone right here, and we can see that we've dipped our toes in there once, almost twice. Didn't quite get there the second time. So perhaps we see one more push to the downside here and give us where the market will give us an opportunity to go long on a medium term position. Again, as long as we hold this range, there's not much for us to speak about other than the fact that the market is really boring at the moment. So that's medium term. Bitcoin still moving sideways. Shorter term though, is it possible for us to see some bounces on the shorter term time frames? 4 hour pointing to the upside here, definitely looking a little bit more bullish in the short term. Perhaps looking for a bounce back up to around about $40,000, maybe even that $41,000 mark that we just spoke of on the daily chart. So for now, sticking to the daily chart, quieting out most of the noise on the lower term time frames. Just want to see what this market wants to do. Running out of volume while price is consolidating at the lows. I think this is all just profit taking before we see the next major move. And whichever direction that's going to be, we will make sure that we catch that. Next one we're going to talk about is Litecoin. So Litecoin, very similar to Bitcoin here. Let's have a look at the weekly chart. First of all, you can see that currently we are holding resistance right there on the weekly chart. We had our swing low around about $220 per Litecoin. That swing low has now been broken. So this trend has actually reversed. We actually broke 1, 2, 3 lows on our way back down on this weekly candle. So coming back up to around about $203 all the way to about $230. That is a range where I'll be looking to potentially take some short positions on Litecoin. I don't like this market structure as much as I do Bitcoins, but let's see what this market wants to give us. So right here we have our resistance coming in, as I said, around about that $220, excuse me, $210 range, even on the daily chart. So as long as that is holding as resistance, I'd be very cautious to be a buyer in this market at the moment. Unless we start breaking those ranges full on to the upside or the downside, I just basically sit on the sideline and watch this market play out. Sometimes no position is a position. Always remember that. So let's have a look. That's the daily range here, medium term. So as long as Litecoin is closing daily candles above $156.66, I'd be looking for this one to just pretty much move sideways. I'd be looking at another spike to the upside as a potential short opportunity. In fact, we could even spike as high as $225 per Litecoin, at which point I will be looking to take some short positions on this one, meeting up with the 100 exponential, the 21 exponential, as well as the 55 exponential, all of them around that same level. So for me, it's kind of an obvious range here for Litecoin, same as Bitcoin. It's very obvious ranges, and we just need to be patient and see how the market reacts around these ranges. Volume wise, same thing. We see that drop off in volume as market is moving sideways. So obviously some profit taking happening. I don't see reaccumulation signals just yet. So no positions are being opened from the market makers at the moment. I think the market makers are just sitting on the sideline like most of us and just waiting for the market to give us a clear signal. That's when the market makers will start showing their cards. We'll see the volume increase. We'll see the patterns on the charts. We'll see the candlesticks telling us it's time to go long or short. But for now, like I said, medium term, long term, it's pretty much just sideways here more than anything else. I don't see any reason to go long or short at the moment. Let's have a look at the shorter term time frames. Currently testing these previous levels of structure as resistance. I don't see an increase in volume of any kind of note, nothing to write home about just yet. So a break above the 55 exponential and a 4-hour close above 187, let's call it 190. That's when I'll be bullish again, short term, looking for an extension back up to the very least around $225 per Litecoin. Next coin we're going to look at is BNB. We're going to start off on the weekly chart again because we had a lot of weekly candles close yesterday. I'd be looking at this area around $430 to be major resistance. This was our previous order block right here, lining up with the 10 simple moving average on the weekly chart, which has been holding support throughout this entire bull run, as you can see. So it is expected for this area to be holding as resistance with the next retest. So that does make sense to me. From a medium term point of view, pretty much the same chart. I mean, if you're looking at this chart right here, we had this order block. If you look left, you can see this order block right here. And this will be acting as resistance, as we can see throughout the last couple of weeks. So once BNB makes it back up here, I'd be more leaning to the downside than the upside. I'd expect this price to move lower before it starts moving back up again. Major levels of structure coming through here. volume going down, price going sideways. So again, I think this is all just profit taking happening. And essentially, once the profit has been taken, that's when we're going to see the next move that is already being aligned as we speak. So we're going to be patient, wait on the sidelines. Like last week, we waited the entire week before we took that long position on ChainLink, and it was a profitable trade. So rather safe than sorry, we'll wait for the market to show us exactly what it wants to do next, and then we'll start taking positions. Right now, it's better not to have any positions in a market like this than being caught with your pants down, right? Okay, so let's keep an eye on these ones. BNB, major resistance around $400. If we do break above 401, I'd expect another extension back up to around about 480. At that point, I'd be looking to be a short seller instead of taking long positions around these parts. So a lot of work to be done before we start taking any positions, like I said. Chainlink, this one is a little bit more bullish in my opinion, compared to most of the other cryptos that we just spoke about. Holding support right here at this previous level of structure. I like that very much. Then we see this order block with this liquidity zone lining up around $31.57. So I'd be looking for this level to act as resistance again moving forward throughout this week. Probably will be taking some short positions up there if we do make it up there. The one thing that I do want to point out about Chainlink and why I think it's more bullish than most of the other altcoins is the fact that we already did test our previous weekly structure high. And we can see a lot of volume coming through from the buyer side. That is an extremely bullish candle that we saw ending off last week's weekly candle. So in my opinion, we should see a fill of this spike to the upside, maybe sweep the highs again on the lower term timeframes. Let's have a look. Like I said, maybe a sweep of these highs one more time, taking out those stop losses, and then ultimately a continuation to the downside. I mean, looking at the daily chart here, we already did retest that 55 exponential moving average. We did confirm those crosses to the downside with the volume coming through from the seller side. So, you know, this one is kind of neutral, medium term. Longer term, very bullish. Medium term, kind of sideways. And then short term for Chainlink here, I do think we'll have an opportunity to take a long position if and only if the market can close and confirm a 4-hour candle above our previous swing high, which comes in around about $30 even. So 30.000 is where I'm going to be taking long positions. If we can see a 4-hour candle close above this liquidity zone, accompanied by a decent amount of volume, then I'd be happy to take long positions all the way back up to around about $35, $36 per Chainlink. And the last coin we're going to talk about is going to be Monero. So let's jump to the weekly chart first. Currently testing that level as resistance. So I've got this liquidity zone in here lining up with the 21 exponential. Again, you know, momentum oscillators looking like they want to dive down to the south. But looking at it from a weekly perspective, we did not close below previous swing lows. So technically speaking, this trend has been broken but not reversed yet. On a daily chart, we definitely broke a crap ton of lows to the downside here. So I would expect a continuation move to the downside. I wanted to get short here on Monero last week. Unfortunately, we just never made it all the way back up to where I looked to go short. But from a medium and short term point of view, let's look at the medium term. Any kind of daily candle close above 270, I'd be taking some long positions, targeting a move back up to around $310 per Monero. But if we close below 242.63, that's when I'm going to be looking to go short, and the market most likely will come and spike these lows one more time before we see continuation to the upside. Overall, neutral on the lower term time frame. Shorter term, I wouldn't take any positions here on Monero unless we can close a 4-hour candle with sufficient volume above 270. So that's what I'm looking at for this week. Quite a few trades starting to line up. We just need to be patient, wait for them to hit the market, wait for the volume to confirm these moves, and then we can participate in those moves. All right, that's going to be it for today. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Cheers for now. Bye-bye.